Welcome, Internet, and everyone out there in the ether to episode 35 of Sis and Big Pops Culture. Woo! I am Big Pops, a.k.a. Mosaic Fan Art, Todd Turner.
And I am Sis, a.k.a. Hannah Jo, and together we are an adult daughter and father duo. We dive into all things geek, nerd, and fandom. Every episode is family friendly.
Family friendly. That's our family friendly logo.
Is it logo?
No,
Tune?
It's not a logo. I don't know.
What do you think?
Not a logo.
Not a logo.
It's a intro music.
Intro ditty.
Hannah, what's on the ditty
What's
today?
On the ditty, Daddy? On the schedule, perhaps that's the word that you meant.
Schedule. Some people say it like that. The schedule.
Schedule.
What's on the
says it like
schedule?
That. That's how Red Skull says it.
Somebody found us.
We are going to do...
What's going on?
Sorry.
Give us a lowdown.
Dad, we are going to do...
What's on the schedule? What's on the schedule? What's on the schedule?
I need you to stop.
Okay, go. I'm sorry.
Say what we're going to do. We're going to talk about what we're binging, and then we're going to talk about nerd news. Then we're going to talk about what we're binging, and then we're going to talk about your pull list. Then we're going to talk about a weird comic that I don't big question mark about this comic. And then we are going to review Star Trek 2.
Star Trek 4. The Voyage Home.
Voyage Home.
Yes. The comic book is Why the Last Man. And we'll talk about that.
Oh, why? That's not what I typed. I typed that wrong.
The Last Man.
The Last Man Omnibus.
Well, no, it's not the omnibus. An omnibus, okay, a little bit of a comic book lingo. Omnibus.
Teach me your ways. I'm going to write this down while you're talking.
Okay, an omnibus is just what it says. It's omni, all-encompassing.
So
the story.
The planetary omnibus that you're like, I thought it was literally just called the planetary omnibus, but it actually
it's called the planet. It's called planetary.
Comics of planetary.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm with you.
Right.
I'm with you.
So what we're going to do is we're going to review the first trade of Why the Last Man, which is actually issues 1 through 6 out of 60. The omnibus collects them all.
Okay.
It ran for 2 years, or 2.5, 3 years. Yeah. So anyway,
Last Man Stand. Okay.
Nerd news. This just in, hot off the AP wire. Hannah, throwing it to you in Bowling Green.
Okay, so there's a new Dune commercial that came out.
That was number 2 on my list. Yeah, did you watch it?
I watched it.
Did you see?
I saw Dave Bautista. Is that the guy that you were unsure who it was going to be?
No. Dave Bautista is Raban. He's called the Beast Raban. So he is really bad.
I mean, he looked really bad.
He's from the house. Depends on who you listen to. Some people pronounce them Harkonnen. Some of them, somebody pronounces them Harkonnen. They're the bad house. Okay, not House Atreides, which is
because we've talked about this so much. The people who are just like listening in are like, we have no clue what you're. Dune is a comic slash also a book. No, it is a comic.
No, it is a book, comic, right?
But it was turned into a comic. And it's one of Dad's like fave sci-fi.
It's listed as one of the top 10 science fiction novels of all time, Dune by Frank Herbert.
And so Dad is straight up high-key stoked for this movie that's coming out in October. Like, has talked about rewatching all of the old stuff on YouTube on previous episodes, has like watched all of the other movies that have popped up. So I
actually have it on CD so I can listen to it in the car.
You do not.
Yeah, Nate got it for me for Christmas.
Oh, I knew that. Did you listen to it this past spring?
I've listened to it like 3 times.
I love that.
Yeah. So the new Dune trailer looks fantastic. The sandworm.
I'm really excited about it. It's teeth,
I gotta make a mosaic before it comes out.
You have to.
Got it.
Big agree.
I have to. The sandworm. Have to. Yeah.
But yeah, right, so it looks really good. Zendaya looks like she's going to be good. Timothée Chalamet, our favorite Soft Boy is in it, and that'll be fun.
I don't even know what that means.
Don't worry about
boy.
it. Don't worry about it.
Gotcha.
Poe, don't know his name, who was also in Annihilation.
Dameron, Oscar Isaacs, who's going to be Moon Knight.
He is not.
Yes.
We talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be really good in that.
I'm pretty sure. We'd have to double check me, but I think so. Yeah.
I mean, I believe in you. Papa.
So speaking of trailers, I talked. This week is the San Diego Comic-Con at home.
Yes.
And we talked about how Marvel and DC last issue
going to be in them anymore.
Very little, right? So there's been a lot of trailers that have come out for like different, like Paramount, Netflix, Legendary Comics, and other comic creators. But one of them that they announced was a new animated Star Trek show for kids.
I saw
on
that.
Paramount Plus. And it's called Star Trek Prodigy. And so I watched the trailer. It looked really cool. It looked cool. It looks sort of like the animation style, like the most recent Star Wars animation style that Disney's been putting out.
Is it that, or is it the Camp Cretaceous? Like that kind of vibe?
No. It looks really good. And apparently a kid finds a wrecked starship, and then the computer talks to him, and guess who the voice of the computer is? I'll give you one hint. My favorite captain.
Janeway.
Kate Mulgrew is hologram Janeway.
I need everyone to know that I know who Dad's favorite Star Trek captain is, and I just knew it was Captain Janeway, and I feel good about knowing that.
I know. I love Janeway.
I know you do.
Captain Janeway.
Who's my favorite captain, Dad?
Probably Picard.
Yeah, I like Picard the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. That's all right.
I know.
And I love Picard too. He's awesome. I can't help it, but I don't know. I have a soft spot for Captain Janeway.
Cool.
So they're doing that. And of course, they already have an animated Star Trek for adults called Lower Decks.
That's what I thought you were going to talk about. I thought you were going to talk about Lower Decks.
No, they do have a new season of that coming out. But I thought
saw that.
What a great way to get kids involved in the Star Trek universe, because basically there's not been a jumping on spot for young people.
Not for kids.
No, it goes straight to high school or,
for sure,
20-somethings. So. Yeah, so I thought that was interesting, considering we're going to be talking about Star Trek for The Voyage Home today. And that was one piece of my news. What else you got?
Something about the Russo brothers that I hadn't heard of before, that so I'm like just reading this. So about 2 years ago, they announced that they secured rights to make a Battle of the Planets movie. And Battle of the Planets was a U.S. adaptation of a Japanese series, Science Ninja Team, Gotcha Man.
Yep.
And
huge.
They thought that the project was dead because it's been 2 years since they bought the rights. But guess what?
What? It's going forward. Is it live action?
I don't know what it's going to be, but Daniel Casey, who apparently either wrote or directed Fast 9.
Oh no, Hannah. Are you
He's on the
me?
Script for the film.
Oh, gosh. So
the best movie ever.
You're crazy. So, of course, there's another movie that was an adapted, like a anime type, was Speed Racer, which we loved and everybody else hates. So
Speed Racer was like a bop. That's like a straight up vibe. There's no other way to say it.
Give you a seizure if you watch it.
Excellent. But the best part, there are two best parts. And you know what they are, Dad. It's Pankuchen Ziet Liebchen. Pancakes are love. And Trixie just doing cartwheels.
The cartwheels in the background while everybody else is fighting.
While everybody's fighting, and she just kicks them. She's just doing cartwheels. Kicks somebody in the
don't talk
face.
about it. Let's review that.
I love that
movie sometime. Okay. Me too. So so there is a fan-made animated video of a battle royale between Superman, Omni-Man, which is the dad from Invincible,
who's a turd nugget.
Homelander, who is the extremely powerful villain from the TV show The Boys.
I know who Homelander is.
Which is, that ain't good either. And guess who the fourth powerful person is in this
Wonder
battle?
Woman.
No.
Okay, let me think. Okay.
Let me set the stage.
Set the stage.
So Superman, it starts out with Superman, and he's looking around, and it's basically Henry Cavill's Superman, you could tell, but it's animated.
Okay.
And then Omni-Man comes down, and then Homelander comes down, and then you look in the distance, and there's somebody walking with a bag of groceries, and the groceries hit the ground, and he turns around and looks, and it's a bald guy by the name of One Punch Man.
No, One Punch Man is there too.
Yes, it is a 4-minute video.
That is iconic.
I'm telling you right now, it's got blood and guts in it.
I mean, duh, it has Homelander.
But it's hilarious. Homelander basically says, I'm going to take care of this guy over here while you two, he talked Superman and Omni-Man.
Please tell me One Punch Man punches him and then he just is...
I don't want to spoil it. You have to go watch it. It's hilarious.
Okay, what is it called again? Tell me.
It's just a just look up Superman versus One Punch Man versus Omni-Man versus Homelander. I mean, it's 4 minutes long. It's a fan-made animated, hilarious.
I don't have any more news.
Oh, well, I've got one more thing.
Okay.
So there is an anime company called, I'm going to mispronounce it, Kodansha, Kodansha.
Okay.
Through August the 2nd, they, on wherever you get your digital comics, digital anime, whatever, wherever you get them from, the first volume of their manga is free.
Ooh, fun.
Through August the 2nd. Second volume is 99 cents.
And then the $2.
And the third volume is $1.99. So you could get 3 volumes of whatever. And some of them included is Attack on Titan, which I love.
Wow.
Fairy Tale to Your Eternity. There's about 20 titles, but it's through August the 2nd.
Okay, so if you're into anime or manga, check that out.
Yeah, but especially you could watch, read the first volume for free.
And see if you like it.
Exactly.
Like that would be a fun way to, that's a really cool way to like introduce yourself to like a new form
honestly,
of art
you
and a
get
new
3
media.
volumes for $3. I mean, honestly, that's not bad. No, considering like to buy 1 volume of something is usually, around $10.
$10-15, yeah.
Yeah. So that's all I got.
Cool.
What are you binging, Hannah Turner?
All of the Marvel movies in order.
That was my new binging voice.
Love that for you.
I know. You're still watching the Marvel movies in order.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Dad.
So what are we on now?
Just finished Avengers Age of Ultron. So since we've spoken last, I mean, it's the worst Avengers movie easily. The thing, this is what made me so angry about it, Dad. It's not that it's awful. It's that the script writing and the dialogue is heinous.
Too much. Too much. The whole hide the cucumber thing wasn't needed. That's so stupid. Oh yeah, you didn't even catch that? Well, I'm not going to talk about it because we're family friendly. The way that women are written in this film is just dumb.
Well,
that's Joss Whedon.
The things that the women say in this are stupid, especially after watching. I used stupid. I mean, it's fine, but after watching like the Black Widow movie and then watching her in this, I'm like, really, you did her dirty. They did her dirty.
How about Wanda losing her accent between that movie and the next movie? Her brother dies and she loses her accent.
Her accent was very, very bad.
It was bad. They shouldn't have tried it. But
man,
the best part of that movie
is Vision.
Is Vision by far.
Then the way that they introduce Vision is very good.
He picks up that hammer and he hands it and says, "Let's go." I mean, that was great. And
seeing that in the theaters, do you remember like the palpable like what?
Okay,
the theaters when that happened.
Do you know what my least favorite part of that movie is?
What?
And it's throughout the entire movie. I love James Spader as Ultron. He is
his mouth moving.
Doesn't need to move. Doesn't need to move.
He has like teeth. Okay. Why does he have teeth?
It's dumb. For a robot who doesn't like humanity, why does he act like he's a human?
Why does he try to be a human?
Is Pinocchio for sure. That's why I've got no strings to. Yeah, man. He's Pinocchio. But I mean, if you watch the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire, with the Goblin, his mask is a mask. And and of course it's Willem Dafoe, who's fantastic. And he didn't need to have lips move. You don't need it. I hated that.
So I watched this with Trev, and he just commented when move? Captain made Meow Meow move, the Meowner.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It jiggled, and we went back and had to rewatch the scene because the Thor's face was just like the emotions that he shared on his.
That was great. I did love that. Which was when you get to, and that's another part where you've missed this, like we said, when you watch Endgame and you haven't seen the other ones, the whole thing with at the end of Endgame where Captain America's beat up all to pieces. And he's like, we're going to do this. I'm going to fight him even if I had to. And all of a sudden you're
go on your left.
On your left. And you're like, what? Awesome success! And it just means so much.
I didn't realize it, but he says that, Captain, because we did two that we watched are Winter Soldier.
When he's in the hospital bed.
In the hospital bed. He says, and on your left.
He wakes up and he looks and he says, on your left.
And I'm like,
so great.
Man,
yeah. And in the Endgame, when Mjolnir goes to Captain America, because you don't really know who it's going to at first, because Thor is fighting Thanos, and you see it move, you think Thor's getting the hammer, and all of a sudden, kink, it's Captain America. And I love the fact. Go ahead.
You go. No, you go. Go.
No, I'm cutting you off.
No, Dad, go.
I like it when Captain America had Stormbreaker and Thor had Mjolnir, and he says, you take the little one.
Well, and I'm now that we're talking about this, something you made me think of is there's always a Captain America and Thor fighting side by side scene in like every Avengers movie.
Oh, really?
There just is. Yes. And it's just really because...
Meet my friend Tree. Steve Rogers. Is that what he says? I am Groot.
So is Steve Groot's Rogers. Name actually Tree?
It has to be. Because he speaks.
He's like,
Groot.
Meet my friend Tree. Man.
Has to be.
I love these movies are so good. But Age of Ultron, man.
Yeah.
And if Captain America saying language, like, come on.
I know. Although in Endgame when he says, that is America's bleep. When he's because that was spot on.
Iconic. So that and Gravity Falls.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
Some shenanigans are happening with
in what? Gravity
this cosmic
Falls?
Entity named Bill.
Because every cosmic entity should be called Bill the Triangle Man. Triangle Man does whatever a triangle can. Is it important? Anyway.
So we question mark about Bill, the cosmic entity.
The triangle.
Who's a triangle?
Nice.
We don't know.
If anybody is watching my mosaic of the Death Star, every background piece is a triangle. So, there you go.
Apparently his name is Bill Cipher.
Ooh, I don't like Cipher.
It's Sypher.
Not CY, Cypher, like that terrible character from Fast and Furious that's going to have her own spin-off movie.
Charlize Theron with that awful haircut. Yeah, Dad. Heinous. Okay. Absolutely heinous.
So I am watching, I went back and I've been in the Star Trek hole.
Oh, I love that for you. Where do you want?
I went back and watched Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan. And
we watched that together.
Yeah. Did we? When?
Before podcast, long time ago.
Gotcha. So I thought, and then that's why we decided we'll talk about Star Trek 4 later. But
no, because you talked about Star Trek Voyage Home in a podcast a couple weeks ago.
The last time, yeah. And we'll talk about that when we get there. But anyway, so I watched Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan, and then we watched another episode of The Chosen, which is really good.
Should I watch that?
Yeah, you would like it. Fast
I don't know,
forward.
Man.
Oh, it's good. The issue with me is the watching The Chosen, and if people don't know, I'm a Christian, and that's what I believe. And the watching The Chosen, growing up, I've always thought about the deity side of Jesus without really taking into consideration the humanity side.
Yeah.
Because Jesus was a man. and is a man. So he walked the earth as a human. And I don't think about that. I mean, we don't think Jesus got tired. Jesus was hungry. Jesus had to go to the bathroom. I mean, really, he was a human. He had to do everything we had to do. We experienced everything we experienced and yet still led a sinless life.
Yeah.
And this show has helped me to see the humanity side
component.
of Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
The only thing is that sometimes on YouTube, the guy who directs it and writes it or whatever talks way too much.
Talks too long.
I don't like it. So I fast forward it. But anyway, that's it. That's what I'm doing.
Cool.
That's what I'm binging. Yeah.
So I'm up in here saying you need to watch Gravity Falls.
All right. I know. I hear you.
Marianne's mentioned it. Now I've mentioned it.
Oh, Marianne. Stay out of it, Marianne. Don't push me. I don't feel peer pressure. You're not my peer, so I don't have peer pressure.
I'm not your peer.
I have younger people pressure. Whatever that is.
The youths. Pressure from the youths. Am I youth?
You are young. You're an adult. Father and adult daughter duo.
That's fact.
That's a lot of does. What's up now, Hannah?
Comics, your pull list. Okay, friends. If perchance you have stumbled upon us on some strange spot on the internet, or perhaps a not so strange, cozy spot on the internet, welcome. We're glad that you are here.
Yeah, thanks for joining in.
A pull list, if you are joining in and are like, what's that, Hannah? Friend, I would love to tell you. A pull list is a list of comics that you are collecting that the proprietor of your local comic book shop keeps on hand, so they may pull the comics that you are wanting from their inventory before placing them on the shelves. That way your comics are saved for you. So my dear Papa is an avid comic collector, and what he's going to do is he's going to share with us 2 Marvel comics, 2 DC comics, 2 comics from independents. So those are like not the big 2. Like everybody knows about DC and Marvel, but not everybody knows about Boom Studios or Image Comics or what is Yosagi Yojimbo. What is that one by?
IDW. Aftershock.
So there's a lot of really cool independent comic publishers? Question mark? Studios?
Yeah.
What would they be called?
Today they're all from Image. Just publishers.
Yay, publishers. And then he has a book of the week.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that too.
I'm going to throw in an honorable mention first.
Oh, we love
Shazam. That. Shazam by DC is putting out a 4-issue miniseries, and issue 1 came out. Shazam's powers aren't working the way they should.
Oh, no.
And
why do they got to be doing that? They always are copying each other. They're always copying each other.
Who knows? Because that's why this is just an honorable mention and not one of my, it was okay.
I'm just saying.
I know. So my first book is a Marvel book called Savage Avengers.
Oh, we like
22.
Savage Avengers. You've mentioned them before.
I have. The story has taken forever. They're on issue 22. It's chapter 22. So a lot of times these stories will have story arcs that last for 3 to 4 issues.
But this one's 22.
22 issues.
Whoa.
And it really just stars Conan with other...
The Barbarian. Would you like Conan?
Which I like. Mm-hmm. He's now trapped in modern day. What happens is he gets sucked into Johnny Blaze, who's the original Ghost Rider's dreams. So Johnny Blaze is Ghost Rider, and he gets pulled into Johnny Blaze's dreams. And the cover of this comic book is what sold it for me. It's Ghost Rider riding a giant flaming spider.
Okay, you have to show it to us, the people that are online.
Anybody that's online, you can. Yeah, it's so cool.
That's iconic.
And so you come to find out that he has to end up fighting Ghost Rider from like the past, way past, who's got instead of a motorcycle, he's riding a giant spider. And you come to find out he's actually inside Ghost Rider's dream because the entity known as Nightmare, which is a Marvel character,
which
sort of on par with Dormammu. He's sort of on par with Mephisto and Dormammu.
Do I know Nightmare?
He's all dressed in green. He looks like he's real pale. Anyway.
Is it Nightmare?
No, Nightmare with an N. The interesting thing about this is Nightmare can't contact Conan. Do you know why, Hannah?
Because they don't speak the same language?
No, because Conan doesn't have nightmares.
I need you to know that I love that so much.
He had to pull him into one of Ghost Rider's nightmares in order to contact him because he wants him to help battle this evil wizard. Because inside that evil wizard's nightmare, he is afraid. His biggest nightmare is Conan. And you get to see Conan's worst nightmare that he ever has. And it's him being like 100 years old and laying on the bed because he dies of old age. That's what his nightmare is. So anyway, the book ends with him having to go meet with Doctor Strange to battle this wizard. So, yeah, it was cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I know Knightmare is from something. I tried to Google it. I know how much you love when I Google things, Dad. Apparently
Nightmare
it's a Skylander, but that's not. I think maybe it's in like Fae lore or something like that.
Well, there is a character called Night. I think, well, maybe not. I don't know. Anyway.
Like I keep picturing this like dark, like pitch black horse.
Well, Nathan wrote a story about that as a kid, about a nightmare.
Oh.
That's what it was.
That's what it is.
Yeah, he wrote a story about
do I have that in my memory
I don't know.
someplace?
Same reason you got, my favorite whatevers.
I'm just great at remembering things.
You are. You're great.
You're welcome.
So my next comic is Undiscovered Country, issue 14.
Image?
By Image.
Ha! Mm-hmm. Knew it.
This is a comic book about a group of people who've been pulled into the United States, which was walled off.
Oh, we talked about this before.
At the beginning, they just walled off the entire United States, and no one comes in, no one goes out. Now there's a massive pandemic going around the world, and the United States offered them back in. But when they got in there, they found out that the entire United States is all jacked up. There are like 13 different zones, and they have to walk what they call the spiral to get to the middle before they
We had talked
escape.
about this, I think.
And, yes, right. So in this issue, they're in the land of possibility.
I don't know what that means.
So it's like, well, what all the things that in America, pop culture that made America America. So like gangster movies and, rap music or whatever. And in this issue, this girl is held captive by superheroes because they don't have anyone left to protect. So they're keeping her because they have to protect her. And since this is by Scott Snyder, who writes all these crazy, he wrote Dark Knight's Death Metal, the thing that we talked about.
Oh, you like them. Yeah.
It was over the top. So it's really cool how they weave in the comic.
It has like a Wizard of Ozzy kind of vibe, like a dystopian Wizard of Oz.
So they're not allowed out of this. Yeah,
there was a TV show on like Sci-Fi or something like that where the United States had been like pushed into like two countries. And never mind. I don't know. I've literally, maybe it was a book I read.
Gotcha.
Like at this point, man, there's
these
so
people
many weird
aren't allowed
things.
They're not allowed to go to the next zone until they write a new American masterpiece. Create, not write. They have to create an American masterpiece. So we have no idea what that looks like. I don't know. I don't know.
What would that be?
We'll
like Tom Sawyer or like a painting?
I have no clue.
Or
we'll find out.
What is it? Issue 12 or 14?
Issue 14. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is going to be a movie or a TV show. So,
man, I love when you say that because it makes me excited and I want to watch them.
There were so many good independent comic books this week. I could have just done independent
just straight
comics.
independent. Really?
Yeah.
That's fun.
So my next one is Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, issue 2. I talked about issue 1.
Yes.
Issue 2 is fantastic.
Is it still that red like tint?
Yes, it's still. But she's slowly getting her power back because she and this girl have hitched a ride. They're trying to get to
Earth.
A place to get to this guy who killed. Because I think the dog might not be alive. Crypto from the last. I don't know.
Dad!
So now. No. I know.
No.
I'm not sure. It doesn't look good.
No.
But this art and the writing in this is so good. It's got such a feel of, like a samurai helping a young person take vengeance upon their family.
We're here for that vibe. Except 47 Ronin with Keanu Reeves. That
where they all
vibe
kill themselves at the end
was too much.
Yeah.
We're
I
not
like
here
the movie.
For that kind of vibe.
No. Okay, so my next book is also a DC book. It's and also a number 1. It's called Blue and Gold. It's a 1 of 8. So if somebody wants to hop on.
Okay, so this is a good thing to collect if we wanted to.
Yeah, it's just 8 issues.
Blue and Gold?
Supergirl's just going to be 8 issues, and Shazam's just going to be 4. Those are all DC, which is what DC's doing. DC is, I like it.
I hate to say that. No, I don't think that you have to hate to say that. I think that is an interesting marketing tool because it makes, I'm here for any type of fandom making what they love more accessible for newbies.
Here's the deal. Also, a lot of these characters people have a story to tell, but they can tell the story in, say, 4 to 12 issues, whereas an ongoing comic book series, the sales aren't there. So if they tell a story in 4 to 12 issues, people will go, yeah, I'll hang for that long. So this is Blue and Gold, and it stars 2 of my favorite late 80s characters, Booster Gold and Blue Beetle.
I know Blue Beetle.
Mm-hmm. So
I know
Booster Gold is like a guy who steals a Legionnaire's ring from the future and comes back to the past and is trying to be a superhero. And Blue Beetle is like a tech wizard, and it's like a buddy thing, but everything they seem to do falls apart.
So it's like buddy cops, biggest issue, but not really.
Sorta. The biggest thing about it, it opens up with Booster Gold trying to get into the Justice League. I want to be part of the Justice League. He's doing everything on social media, everything. So it's like, hey, what's up? And the thing that drives me crazy is all the little bubbles that they have on the panels where people are responding to his stuff. Like comments section, they're like, oh, this guy's toast. He ain't gonna make it. Like, what a ripoff, that kind of stuff.
This guy's toast.
Yeah, and he's like trying to say, don't forget to, instead of Patreon, I think it's called Pay Me Please or whatever. Don't forget to, hit Pay Me Please or whatever. I can't remember what it's called.
Pay Me Please.
Yeah, so he tries to literally save the Justice League who are held captive. And he's getting cremated, and his little robot Skeets, which just floats around, goes to get Blue Beetle and says he needs your help. So together they literally rescue the Justice League.
Good.
So the Justice League have a discussion, and they're like, yay.
Join us, please.
No, they want Booster. They don't want Booster. They want Blue Beetle. So Blue Beetle says, no, I can't. I'm staying with my friend. Buddy. And it looks like it might be neat. If they continue this daggone social media pop-up garb, I ain't for that. Other than that, the thing about it is it's written by the guy who created Booster Gold.
Oh, so that's fun.
That is fun. Dan Jurgens.
So that person knows the character well and is able to write them well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's fun.
My next book is issue 6 of an Image comic book called Radiant Black, and we've talked about it before.
Pretty much every time you get a Radiant Black, you talk about it.
It's good. So back a few issues ago,
there was a cliffhanger.
Like a couple issues back, there was a bad guy, Radiant Red. The red one was the villain. Well, it ain't a guy, first of all. First and foremost, it's a woman.
Ayo.
And you come to find out why she's bad.
Okay, why?
She isn't bad at all. She's not bad at all. Her husband has a gambling addiction or something like that, and has basically put their entire family, her mom and dad, like everything they own. And she to pay off these bookies and people that owe money. So it literally is a standalone issue. This is a good issue for people to hop in if they want, because I have a feeling that it's really it's great. Really
character
good.
Driven.
Every issue of this is fantastic.
That's so fun, Dad.
Yeah. My last book is also an issue 1. A lot of issue 1s is Moon Knight by Marvel Comics.
Oh, really? Moon Knight.
Yeah. So this is fresh off where the Fist of Khonshu tried to take over the world in Avengers.
With the devil eating the piece of...
Yeah. It was weirdy. And so what's happened is, for Moon Knight to be free... the Avengers have mandated him to go to counseling.
Good.
So he is in counseling.
I mean, maybe not good. Court mandated.
He has created a thing called the Midnight Mission, where people who are in trouble, like with creatures or things going on, they come to him at night. Anybody who's being harmed during the night, they come to him and he goes and he fixes it.
Cutie.
So it looks like it's going to get a little bit bonkers.
Hardcore.
At the end, they introduce another character who believes that Moon Knight, as the Fist of Khonshu, is not fulfilling the will of Fist of Khonshu.
Man,
so
why do you always gotta have people up in here like you are not worthy?
Yeah. So he is a follower. He is a follower of Khonshu as well.
Oh man.
So yeah. All right, are you ready for my book of the week?
Book of the week.
Okay.
What is
it?
So
this is issue 1 by Image Comics.
Ooh, yay.
Called Mother of Madness, or Mom. This is written, I didn't realize it, but by somebody who's on Game of Thrones.
Cool.
Amelia Clark. Amelia Clark.
Really?
Yeah.
Dad, no. You know her. She is, yeah, you do. Amelia Clark. She was in the Han Solo film. She was the brunette in the Han Solo film.
I don't know.
The one who the young Han was in love with.
Oh, really? Yeah, I do remember her. Okay. Well, she wrote this. So I thought, here's the deal. I wasn't going to read this. I wasn't going to get it. But I read it because I have 2 daughters and a wife. And it has a lot to do with feminine issues.
Cool.
And women empowerment. And it is a really good book. It is extremely wordy. There are a lot of words.
A lot of dialogue.
And a lot, but it's well done. And literally at one point, the character says, listen, you sat through 10 years of Marvel movies. You can sit through a couple pages of dialogue. She literally, because she breaks the fourth wall. I know. She breaks the fourth wall throughout this entire comic book. And you basically get her origin story.
Okay. Is she like a superhero or? She
has multiple powers that are affected by her emotions and the hormones that cause those emotions.
Okay.
So like when she laughs or is happy, she has a power. When she's angry, she has a power. When she's sad, she has a different power. There are all these multiple powers that.
I like that.
Oh, and it lists it in the back. It shows in the very back what her powers are and what causes each one of the powers. And there's also, you know how, I can't remember if it was Adventure Man, which by the way, a new issue of Adventure Man is coming out in the next month.
That's fun.
So there's a list in the back of phone numbers for people to contact for if they have like for trafficking or suicide or racism or
I love that.
Sexual harassment or it's really good, and I'm going to continue to get it.
Cool.
So you'll want to read it because it's great.
The only thing that makes me a little bit nervous is a lot of the work that I do as a mental health professional is helping people understand that their emotions are not in charge of the behaviors that they do.
Well, no, here's the deal. And what I gather from this is that they are not in charge of her.
Okay.
She uses the emotions. She uses them to help people.
Okay, cool.
Like she tried to rescue a woman who was in the middle of human trafficking, but the person passed because she couldn't get to her in time. But it's neat because at the end, she like beats somebody up and it's like, oh, there's a camera. I'm coming for you. I'm going to get every one of you. And crushes the camera.
Pew, pew, pew.
So it's really interesting. Yeah, I like it.
Cool.
On a sad note, my comic book guy said he's leaving his shop at the end of August. So
that's really sad.
Got to figure out what I'm going to do.
I mean,
yep. All right.
Lexington, probably.
I don't know. We'll see. So, Hannah, let's do Star Trek. Guys, we're going to talk Star Trek, the Wrath of Kahn. I just did it again. The Voyage Home.
A New Hope.
It isn't. Oh gosh, no! It's not a new. That's Star Wars. Who said that?
I mean, I need you to know. I literally on my thing. It literally just says Humpback.
Star Trek: A New Hope.
No, it doesn't. It just says Humpback. That's what
Let me give some lowdown. Okay.
It literally just says humpback whales. Okay, I'm done.
Nice. Let me give some lowdown.
Yes, sir.
Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, came out in 1986. So we're talking about it because this summer is the 35th anniversary, and it's going to be re-released in select theaters. So if you want to go watch it, you should go watch it. It was nominated for 4 Oscars.
Really?
And it was... it didn't win any, but it was nominated.
That's
cool.
It
was directed by Spock himself, Leonard Nimoy, fresh off directing the third movie, which was called Search for Spock. He loves
himself.
Well, he wasn't really in the third movie, which was why he could spend all this time directing it.
I'm with you.
He was barely in it. So this movie started filming February 24th, 1986, just a month after the space shuttle Challenger exploded. So if you watch this movie, and you can see this movie on Hulu, it's free on Hulu. So they dedicate this movie to the crew of the space.
They say that
shuttle Challenger at the very beginning. Interesting footnote is that I was a senior in high school when this movie started filming, and I was a senior in high school when this started filming, and my high school band teacher was one of the finalists as the teacher to go in the space shuttle. Mm-hmm. So, yes, we watched this when the space shuttle lifted off. So anyway, it was released in November 26th, which means if we were a family then, we would have saw it at Thanksgiving. Yay. Because it came out Thanksgiving weekend. Now, Hannah.
Yes.
Tell me what you think. What's the movie about?
I have a list of, I made a list on my phone, much like when I watched Aliens, and have just some notes and things that just made me giggle throughout the film. It just go watch it. It just makes you giggle. It's literally called Humpback Whales. That's how I have it listed. Because they have to go back in time to rescue humpback whales to save themselves from an energy-sucking probe that was making a sound that they couldn't hear. But Spock was like, I wonder what it would sound like if you played it underwater. And Uhura was like, Uhura was like, oh yes, I shall do that. And it's whale song.
The cool thing about this movie is if you can tell that it was pretty much written by 2 different people. So there is space, and then it's on Earth. Mm-hmm. And there are very few special effects.
Yeah, there's not. Very limited.
Limited special effects. It's almost all filmed on location, which a lot of people said, and actually it did great in the box office for its time. A lot of people said it really gave the characters a place to shine and act, because in a lot of the other ones they don't. It's just a lot of fighting and pew-pewing and all that kind of stuff.
They talk about time warp, and
it's just all of a sudden of course
it's like, oh yes, we can time warp, and I'm like, let's do the time warp again. I thought that was funny.
Oh my gosh!
My favorite is that they get to the 80s. They time warp to the 80s,
to 1986 actually, to our time. It was the 80s because it. Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, you go, Dad.
No, you go.
Uhura is like, Admiral, I'm detecting whale song.
Yeah. All right. What? Well, she has to because they need it to save the world.
This is so funny. Admiral, I'm detecting whale song.
Do you know what the funny part was? Is we were watching this, and in the background, mom was sitting on the couch, and she's like, wait, is that San Francisco? Because that's where Starfleet is, San Francisco, which I've always said, if you never want to be in San Francisco, stay away from San Francisco.
San Francisco and New York, man.
New York. Just don't.
Just don't.
Be in Kentucky. It's all cool in Kentucky.
Ain't nothing happening here.
Mark Twain said if the world came to an end, he wanted to be in Cincinnati because everything happened 10 years later there. So there you go.
It's a fact. Yeah. One of my favorite parts about this is they literally just park this giant ship.
Romulan
ship that's been cloaked in the middle of a park while these two men are just doing their jobs. They flatten a trash can.
Men.
They flatten a trash can. They're like, we're out of here, man. They're like, we ain't doing this. Like, I never saw anything. And then they each have their own little things that they have to do. So they have to get this like plexiglass, so to like waterproof something. Where do you find the
nuclear vessels?
And the
nuclear vessels.
A Russian man and a black woman looking for nuclear vessels in the 80s, going up to a cop.
And he's just looking at him.
And he's just looking at him like, are you good?
You know, I wonder if that cop was an actor or if that was just like
a dude there,
a police officer on the side of the road, and went up and asked him,
so we can just talk to you for a second. And Chekhov's like nuclear. The way
he can't even say vessels.
He can't say vessels right.
Yeah. I like how they basically entrust their entire lives to a guy who just had Vulcan brain surgery. Mm-hmm. You know, Spock just had his brain rearranged. You know,
man, it's just cracks me up.
Scotty talking to the computer.
Yes, he's like.
And did you see the computer he was using?
Mm-mm.
It was an OG Mac.
It was not.
It was like the first Mac desktop computer.
That's so cool.
It said Macintosh on it. I was like, oh my gosh. And he's like, computer. And then
he picks it up, hands him the mouse, and he puts it up to his head and goes, "Hello, computer."
Yeah, he's like talking to it. And they're like, keyboard. And then and the funny thing is that the guy said, you have to use a keyboard. I say, keyboard, how quaint. I said that out loud, and then your mom's watching it, and Scotty goes, keyboard, how quaint. And she's like, I can't believe you did all that.
How many times have you seen this
movie?
Man,
bazillion.
Spock rips a piece of his robe off and ties it around his head.
Like a bandana like me.
You can't see his ears.
Yeah.
And he's just, and then they go to see these whales. And it's just these people being like, oh, we need to procure money. Like, they use money now. And there's this woman who like helps them with the whales. And they take the bus to this like, it's like SeaWorld, but it's not. It's like a preservation
I know.
For whales.
Right.
SeaWorld-ish. SeaWorld light, if you will. And
I gotcha.
He Vulcan pinches this punk
head
kid.
Like a punk rocker. Listen
punk
to
rock kid.
I hate you. I hate you. Yeah.
The Vulcan pinch was so good.
And they're like throwing around cuss words left and right because they call them colorful metaphors. And Captain Kirk's like, well, you have to use that language here because that's what everybody says. Everybody uses that language here. So the funny thing is that Spock peppers in cuss words.
Spock can't do it.
He has no clue, which is hilarious. And so it's PG-13. But, you know, it's harmless.
I love. You go.
Go ahead.
No, go.
So, yeah, Spock swimming in the
and he looks like he's wearing a diaper.
Mind melding with the
whale.
Humpback whale. So the whole thing is
they know she's pregnant.
Yeah,
Gracie knows she's pregnant.
She bleep told me. She the bleep told me is what he said.
My favorite thing was Chekhov getting stuck in this poor Russian man getting stuck in this nuclear ship. The Enterprise. And he like escapes. And as he's running away, I need you to know that if you pause, there's an arrow that says escape route, pointing the right way how to go. So that literally says escape route with an arrow, and he follows because like, man, we've been on an aircraft carrier. Those things.
Yeah, it's hard to get out.
It's hard to get out of those things. You can get lost in those things.
10 years ago today, I think.
Really? Yeah. So
we were,
And then my favorite is that Bones goes to the hospital to like help save him. And
good Lord, man.
This woman is sitting there on dialysis.
Oh yeah.
And he just hands her a bill. And she just takes it. She has they're leaving. She's in a wheelchair and she's raising her hand up and down.
Yeah.
She said, "The doctor gave me a pill and I grew a new kidney."
Kidney. Yeah, woohoo! I grew a kidney.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's just so funny.
So yeah, there you go.
It was
the deal,
good,
guys. You should watch Star Trek 2, Star Trek 3, and Star Trek 4. It's the perfect Star Trek trilogy. Watch 2 and 3, and then go see 4 in the theater. And it caps it all off. Yeah. What do you think? How many phaser banks would you give this?
I would give it 5 humpback whales.
How many humpback whales?
5.
5 humpback whales.
5 humpback whales.
Okay, so we don't have a whole lot of time, but Hannah and I read a comic book called Why the Last Man. The reason I had us read this was because this is being made into a TV show by FX, which should come on Hulu in September.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. What happens, Hannah? Give me the lowdown.
Okay.
From someone who's never read this.
It is a little bit hard to follow because it jumps often. There's lots of jumping points.
The first issue, for sure.
Throughout, especially the first issue, but like throughout, it like jumps from spot to spot.
Gotcha.
All beings with the Y chromosome, so not just humans, but like animals, fish, livestock, pets, all beings with the Y chromosome perish.
Yes.
They just randomly die.
Except for
one guy and his pet monkey.
His capuchin monkey, Ampersand.
It felt that movie that we watched during COVID that's not Contagion, but is like Contagion, and Patrick Dempsey and the monkey. That's what that made me think of.
I gotcha. Yeah. I can't remember what that's with Dustin Hoffman. Yeah, gotcha. So he's the only one that lives.
And his mom is like a senator or something.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And poor guy was proposed. Okay. Don't propose to your girlfriend on the phone while she's in Australia.
I think the thing was that he had to do it. But anyway, yeah. So, and then what happens is they try to, there are some main characters that are at play here. His mom, who you said is in the House of Representatives.
Oh, she's not a senator. Excuse me. She's a representative.
Yeah, House of Representatives. Agent 355, who is part of a
secret government
spy ring, something or whatever.
Who went and found the Secretary of Agriculture because she became the President of the United States because she was the only person that
the highest ranking official is still alive.
Female.
Because everyone else was male. I think this had a lot to say about exactly. Now, this was written in 2002, so this was written 20 years ago.
Okay, fair.
It lasted 6 years. It was co-written by Brian K. Vaughan and Pia Guerrera, who is male and female. So, and actually the TV show, I believe Pia Guerrero is doing most of the writing.
That's awesome. I like when stuff is adapted by the original writer.
So Dr. Allison Mann is the geneticist and cloning specialist who we think
caused this.
The moment that the clone is born but isn't born, dies, right?
Clone's not alive.
All the people die. And then there's this militant group called the Daughters of Amazon.
Man,
literally
and they
hate men now. Yeah.
And
So I want you to know this. So the character's name is Yorick, who
Von Lichtenstein.
His name is Yorick.
Von Lichtenstein.
His name is not Von Lichtenstein. Yorick. It's from Hamlet's. It's from Hamlet, Shakespeare's Hamlet.
Making a Knight's Tale joke.
I got you. I understand. That is funny.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, do you know the whole scene where Hamlet is holding a skull and says, "Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him well." So Yorick.
But I do now.
Okay, so Yorick was the king's jester that Hamlet played with, that he rode piggyback and he told stories and he did all this kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
And basically, the whole entire thing was symbolizing the inescapability of death and decay. That's what the whole thing about Yorick. Yeah.
Cool.
And his sister's name is Hero, which is from the Shakespearean play Much Ado About Nothing.
I know Much Ado About Nothing.
Yeah. So anyway.
I watched. Wait, that's with Catherine? No, that's Taming of the Shrew.
Yeah, no.
I watched Taming of the Shrew in the Globe Theater.
Gotcha. I've not seen. Only thing I've done is Hamlet. We read Hamlet. I haven't read Much Ado About Nothing. So, yes. So Agent 355 and Yorick go to find the geneticist.
And then something explodes.
Her
lab. And we think the Amazon did it.
No. There's another character named Alter who is an Israeli freedom fighter. An Israeli commando. Mm-hmm. So it seems like she wants, like if they're going to get clone men or whatever, she wants them to be able to fight the Palestinians. I mean, really, this is a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to follow. Maybe it's not. It was hard for me to follow.
I got you.
I mean, I didn't dislike it. It wasn't my favorite thing that we've read. No,
you could definitely see that it was written 20 years ago. Yeah. The language and the way. I do think it has a lot to say about how women are perceived in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, one part in the comic book, the wives of the senators and representatives that were Republicans, because here's the deal. Okay, here's the deal. So when all the men die, they say there were very few women in the Senate and in the House of Representatives. And the majority of them are Democrats, because the majority of the women were Democrats. So there are very few Republicans now. The Democrats hold a majority.
And there's
so their wives want to take over their husband's seats.
Which traditionally is something that occurs. And
if an election takes place.
Yeah.
And
so that was a whole thing.
One of the Republican senator wives accidentally shoots and kills
a Secret Service agent.
And they're I've never even held a gun before.
It's just really sad.
It is. It's end of the world type stuff. Because
it was just, and I think maybe that's what it was. Maybe it wasn't that it was hard to read. It's just.
What would the end of the world look like?
And I tend to like those sort of types of media. I think that they're fun and they're interesting. Usually when I read them, it's YA fiction or something like that, or a TV show or something like that. And you only see one person's perspective, and it's lighter perhaps.
Yeah. Well, we did.
Oh, farts.
We did only read the first 1/10 of the story.
So I'm sure it gets a lot better.
I know what happens.
What happens? Tell me.
Do you want me to tell you? Want me to spoil everybody? Because it's going to be a TV show.
We're going to spoil you. So if this is something that you care a lot about, if you are really excited about listening to Why the Last Man Standing and watching the new show, you need to turn
The Last Man, not Last Man Standing. Why the Last Man? Yeah. The first story arc is called Unmanned. So what happens is you come to find out that Dr. Mann's father is alive, and that Ampersand was one of his cloned creatures. They never really come out and say why those three males are alive and everyone else dies. They never really come out. No. But they go on this.
A reason.
They go on this journey. End up getting to they go to California to try to find this person, and then they go overseas.
Do they go to Australia?
They go to Australia. By the time they get to Australia, Yorick realizes he's in love with Agent 355.
Who is surprised by that? No one.
I know, and she is killed.
Dang it!
He ends up with someone completely different. They do end up cloning Yorick.
Of course
and he has 2 daughters. But it's funny, they have children and they're both girls. How funny is that? So the first 2 people born are women, and they end up becoming like a president of France or something like that. Awesome. Or whatever. But then everything starts to stabilize, and they've cloned men so that they will be able to do all of that. And the story ends with Yorick 90 years old or whatever, and they say he's gone crazy because of what stories he's told and everything, and they've got him in a straitjacket, which is interesting because they have him in a straitjacket
In the very beginning, and he escapes. Very beginning.
And
he's a escape artist.
And so that's how it ends. Him as a 90-year-old or 80-something-year-old in an insane asylum in a straitjacket. And then there's some other stuff goes on, and then you go back, and the jacket is empty, and he's gone. And that's the end of the story.
Weird.
So a lot of stuff does happen. Yeah.
That's bonkers, Dad.
I know. So I'm interested in how this is going to work, how they're going to do it. But I just thought it would be interesting to look at because they are going to turn.
Yeah. I could see how FX would do a good job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think if this was going to be a show somewhere, it would be on FX or Sci-Fi.
Or Netflix or Sci-Fi. Yes.
Yeah.
Like that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't think it was bad.
It was a product of its time. I think that's the issue. Yeah. I think if it was written today,
it would not be the same.
No. And I'm pretty sure that when they move it from the book to the screen,
that they might have to change some things to make it.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense.
All right. Well, thanks, folks, for hanging with us and staying throughout the doodad.
And if you aren't here because we almost spoiled you, might be.
Yeah, you're still here. Yeah. You guys don't care.
Well.
Hey, 5-star review, yo. Whatever that is.
Yeah. If you like us and you like our podcast, please leave us a 5-star review on
If you don't like us, leave us a 5-star review.
And if you are indifferent
because that's what it means.
Write us a 5-star review.
All reviews are 5-star mandatory.
Hey.
Our logo.
So end roll, y'all. Our logo, our little picture thing was created by Nathan. He's my little brother. Hey, he did that in Microsoft Paint. Can you believe that? What a talented nugget.
I can't even get a straight line in Microsoft Paint.
I can't get a straight. That's a fact. Our intro music is written, composed, and performed by Brockwell Nason,
who I saw today with a rock in the beard.
Does he have a nice beard right now?
It's pretty on point.
Man, I'm here for that. I'm here for him to have a nice
he's
beard.
Got some good music on Spotify. Hannah calls it Driver's License. I don't know what that means.
Driver's License is a cover of a song by Olivia Rodrigo. He also has other original songs. If you're not interested in a cover, his music's pretty good. Our YouTube page is maintained by ye old Big Pops.
Catch me, Big Pops.
And I edit and upload the podcast. Hey, we're so glad you all are here, sweet friends. Thanks for hanging with us. And we will catch you on the flippity flop.
Bye.